What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another one. And today, the New England Patriots are officially done training camp. They've wrapped it up for the year. And instead of recapping one day, we are just going to recap the entirety of this final week of New England Patriots training camp. Now, look, I know what you guys are thinking. Colby, don't you usually do a daily recap of training camp? I usually do, but unfortunately, once training camp gets closed to the public, for whatever reason, the media just doesn't talk as much about what's going on behind the scenes. Quite literally, when we need them the most because we can't be there, it seems like they fall off a little bit with what they're reporting and what they're letting us fans know, which is a little disappointing, but it kind of is what it is. Obviously, to these practices for the final week of training camp, there's not necessarily a whole lot to them. There's not necessarily a whole lot of takeaways as there are in the beginning of training camp or even in the middle of training camp, because we're coming down to the wire. They're getting ready for the regular season, and they're just trying to, most importantly, keep their players healthy. So with that being said, because there isn't as much information on a day-to-day basis, I thought, why not just recap the entire week rather than making small little itty bitty videos each and every single day. Of course, on your way in, guys, please make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video. It takes you less than a second. It helps out so much. You guys killed it on the last video with the likes, and it helped out the video tremendously. So I believe in you guys. We have the best family here with the Pats Nation family out of any single fan base here on YouTube. I know you guys can do it. Let's reach 200 likes on this video. Completely free, supports the channel. I know you guys can do it. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news, thoughts, breakdowns, and live game reactions that we'll be doing this upcoming season. Most importantly, though, make sure when you do subscribe, you hit the bell notification so that you actually get notified when we post and when we go live. A little bit later in today's video too, I'll tell you about today's sponsor over at Aura to make sure that you keep yourself, your family, your friends, all of your loved ones safe from the threats we face online. So starting off here, I want to start with the first practice that the Patriots had after their preseason week 2 game against the Eagles, the practice that kicked off the final week of training camp, because that was probably the most notable day because it's the most actual news and information that we got from the media. So guys that were not practicing after that preseason week 2 game: Kendrick Bourne, Jaquay Jackson, who we now know is placed on season-ending injured reserve; Hunter Henry, who has been banged up for the last few practices now. He was injured before that preseason week 2 game; Calvin Anderson, Cole Strange, Nick Leverett, Josh Uche, O'Shane Ximines, Christian Barmore, Sione Takitaki, and Marte Mapu. Now, for the most part, this list is exactly what it's been. Kendrick Bourne, Cole Strange, Christian Barmore, Sione Takitaki, Marte Mapu. We've talked about those guys at nauseum. As for somebody like Hunter Henry, Drake Maye did confirm just today, the final day of training camp, that he is dealing with a little bit of a nagging injury, but it isn't something that is going to affect him long term, and that he should be good to go for week 1 of the regular season. Now, Calvin Anderson continuously coming in and out of the mix. He's kind of been dealing with also a little bit of a nagging injury, but nothing that's keeping him out long term. The Patriots will definitely need him this upcoming season as a depth tackle. Kind of really that exact same thing with Nick Leverett. Josh Uche been dealing with something a little bit this offseason too. O'Shane Ximines dealing with something against the Eagles in preseason week 2. Now, earlier in the week, he did come back to practice, so nothing to worry there about with him. And then someone that was limited today in practice, or limited during this first practice, was Shaun Wade. Now, Shaun Wade also being somebody who's dealt with some injury problems for the majority of this offseason, especially in training camp. For the majority of training camp, wearing that red non-contact jersey, the Patriots are going to need Shaun Wade. And Shaun Wade, in order to make this roster, is going to need to, most importantly, stay healthy. His versatility on the outside in the slot is something the Patriots can use with really a lot of the question marks they have right now currently in the secondary. And injury problems really are just creaking up on the Patriots right here at the end as we get ready for the regular season, which is just not what you want to hear. Austin Hooper going down in the first practice of the week with some type of leg injury, did not return obviously already having Hunter Henry out, not the most ideal situation. Now, Mitchell Wilcox, who's pinned in currently as the third tight end, he ended up going down later this week also. That kind of thrusted Jaheim Bell into the starting and really only role as a tight end. Now, there was a period just a few days ago where Jaheim Bell, the rookie 7th-round pick, actually finished red zone practices with 3 total touchdowns. Now, is that stock up on Jaheim Bell just playing well? Or is that, you know what, the ball had to go somewhere and you're the only tight end on the active roster? I would probably go with the second one. Overall, though, with these tight ends dealing with all these injuries, none of them sound like they're anything too serious, and that for the most part, everybody should be good to go come week 1 as long as they can actually make the active roster. But as for these quarterbacks here, 11 on 11s, Brissett went 6 for 9. Maye was 7 for 9. 7 on 7s, Brissett was 3 for 4. Drake Maye was 4 for 4. Really, the most notable thing here with the quarterbacks is that Drake Maye working with the first team offense later on in practice. Now, of course, lighter practice, more of a jog through practice. So, let's not freak out too much. But Drake Maye looking great against the Eagles in week 2. We had questions on, okay, Drake Maye's stock is rising. Jacoby Brissett's stock is lowering. What are they going to do entering these final couple days of training camp? And what we saw is they're giving him the opportunity to finally, for the first time, start rolling with the ones. To me, what that says is no, he's most likely still not starting week 1, but it says that he's likely, as long as he keeps this upward trajectory, Drake Maye should be starting for the Patriots sooner rather than later. Now, speaking of Drake Maye, he was able to hit Kevin Harris, the running back, for a 40-yard gain on a perfectly placed throw on a wheel route. Overall, just Drake Maye in that first practice, you can see how much more confident he is, and he's continuing to grow. And I think a lot of that is coming with the live game reps that he got versus the Eagles. And that's why we wanted to see more of Drake Maye against the Panthers week 1. That's why here, week 3 against the Commanders, Drake Maye needs to be given significant opportunities because it's growing his confidence. It's making him play better. Live reps is what he needs, not just these practices with the second team offense in training camp. But Maye's also working really well with, what's projected to be really the top 4 Patriots wide receivers. He looks good with Jalen Polk, looks good with KJ Osborne, looks good with Tyquan Thornton, who is projected to have a big role with the Patriots this upcoming season, and also looking good with Demario Douglas. Speaking of these wide receivers, Jalen Polk is just routinely, continuously working with the first team offense alongside the other top receivers, Demario Douglas and Tyquan Thornton. It sounds like that is going to be your 3-headed monster at wide receiver. It's going to be Demario Douglas, Tyquan Thornton as the X, and then Jalen Polk, at least until Kendrick Bourne comes back. Now, speaking of this rookie wide receiver, Javon Baker was working with the third team offense after a horrific performance against the Philadelphia Eagles, mostly working with the third team offense in 7-on-7s, catching passes from Joe Milton. He did see some work with the second team offense in 11-on-11, so they're still trying to get him reps, still trying to help him develop. But look, if you're going to play bad, you're going to get thrown in the doghouse. If you want to work with the first team, you're not guaranteed that just because they need bodies. You need to prove that you actually deserve to be playing with the first team offense. And again, after a terrible game against the Eagles, Javon Baker does not deserve to be working with the first team. Now, I will say later on in the week, Vidarian Lowe did get injured, and that did shake up the Patriots offensive line. Now, that was just a couple of days ago, and the offensive line that we saw when Vidarian Lowe went down was an entire mix-up along the offensive line, but one that I think a lot of Patriots fans are going to like. It went Chukwueze Okorafor back to starting left tackle, Sidy Sow at left guard, David Andrews at center, Layden Robinson, the rookie, as your starting right guard, and then kicking Michael Onwenu back out to right tackle. I know he's 350 pounds. I know there's some concerns about that, but he's still a talented as hell offensive lineman, and I believe that despite being 350 pounds, Michael Onwenu can be an average starting right tackle if he needs to be. Now, there were 3 players amongst the Patriots offensive line who actually got the most work with the first team offense due to injuries, and that was Caden Wallace, Layden Robinson, and Michael Jordan. I think the interesting thing is if the Patriots do kick Michael Onwenu back out to tackle, who is going to be the guard that gets the nod? Is it Layden Robinson or is it Michael Jordan? Because both guys have worked really, really well this offseason and in the preseason. Michael Jordan looks significantly better in pass protection, as where Layden Robinson looks significantly better in run blocking. Now, there really wasn't too much to take away from the defense. One of the big ones is that Dietrich Wise is really stepping up for the Patriots in the absence of Matthew Judon, has another sack, has continued to look really good in practice. And really, ever since they traded Matthew Judon, or the rumors really started about trading Matthew Judon, the guy to step up the most, yeah, Keon White looks good, but to me, that guy is Dietrich Wise. I mean, having a sack in both of the Patriots preseason games so far, dominating in training camp, this is going to be a guy to watch, especially as your top pass rusher is now in Atlanta. Now, some positive news when it comes to players that have been dealing with injuries this offseason. In the cornerback room, both Jonathan Jones and Marcus Jones are reportedly near 100% healthy, and they practiced a lot more on the first day of practice back after week 2 of the preseason. Both Alex Austin and Marco Wilson recorded pass breakups. Alex Austin ran stride for stride with Demario Douglas on his, and then Marcellus Dial recorded a pass breakup while guarding Tyquan Thornton on a deep ball. Probably the only positive play that Marcellus Dial made all offseason long. I still have him off my roster. And then as for your safeties, these UDFAs just continuing to make plays. AJ Thomas intercepted Joe Milton on a ball that was tipped by Marco Wilson. AJ Thomas has been quietly good for the Patriots in training camp. I don't think he makes the roster, but I think that he is going to be a favorite to get back on the practice squad as long as he clears. And then Del Pettis also had a sack today. He has been easily the Patriots' best UDFA. I know that this is a stacked safety room, but if there's any UDFA that's going to make the Patriots roster, it's going to be Del Pettis. And the Patriots used to be known as the team that constantly had at least one UDFA making the roster. And that's why UDFAs actually wanted to sign here. They would take less money in order to sign here as a UDFA because they knew that in coming here, yes, it was a competition, but you still had a chance at making the roster because they would continuously keep at least one of those guys on a year-to-year basis. If the Patriots want to get back to being a team that's known for that under Drake Maye, then Del Pettis is definitely the guy that would make the final roster. Now, before we get on to a couple of last-minute tidbits, before we end off today's video, let's hear from our quick sponsor over at Aura. Hey guys, sorry to cut the video real quick, but I had a very important question that I had to ask you, and that is, have you ever Googled yourself, or maybe a friend, or maybe a family member Googled themselves and saw their private information being used? Maybe like their name, their phone number, their social security number, their address, maybe their credit card information? God knows I have, and the only reason that I was able to find that and take care of it was because of today's sponsor over at Aura. So what Aura is an identity protection service. And what they do is they go ahead for you so you don't got to do the hard work, and they scour the internet for any of your information being used illegally that you didn't want them to use. The other great part is that they'll monitor your credit. They'll see if your phone number is being used to robocallers, which if you don't know what those guys are, they're essentially the ones that call you about 5 times a day. Because little do you know, these data brokers are actually trying to sell your information to robocallers, to spammers who are trying to find out your own personal information, such as where you live. So what Aura will do is they'll essentially send you an email or notification saying that, hey, someone's trying to use your phone number. Someone's trying to access this information about you. Do you want us to delete it from the web? Fortunately, in today's society, a lot of threats that we all face on a day-to-day basis come online. And unfortunately, the scary part is that we can't always see it. Aura's going to come in, protect you, protect your family from threats that we can't see and we don't even know are coming. So hey, look, you guys can go right ahead and let people exploit your own private information, or you can go to the link in the description box below and pinned in the comment section below to go ahead and sign up for your 14-day free trial over at Aura. Now, a couple last tidbits to get in here before we end off today's video. Now, Jacoby Brissett in the second to last day of practice on Thursday was still the Patriots quarterback one. The Patriots were running a regular season styled practice, but Drake Maye saw his first live reps with all of the Patriots starters. Now, he only saw 3 reps to Jacoby Brissett's 18, but the fact that this was the first time the entire offseason that we saw Drake Maye not just working with a couple of the starting receivers or working with the first team offensive line, but working with the entire first team unit is again signs in the right direction as each and every single day he is continuing to go up. Something that was even a little bit more interesting to add to this whole quarterback controversy is that Drake Maye in this practice took more total reps than Brissett during the 11-on-11 period. This was also the practice where the Patriots got a little bit of reinforcements back. Center slash guard Nick Leverett did return. He seems fully healthy. He seems fine. He seems good to go. Patriots are going to need that for their final and third preseason game, but they're also going to need that depth within the interior this upcoming season. And Nick Leverett, whether it's center or guard, he is going to be the next man up. And then as for the whole kicker competition, I think that Joey Sly has officially put it to an end. And at this point, just cut Chad Ryland right now. Cut Chad Ryland right now and let Joey Sly get all of the kicks in the final preseason game. In this practice alone, he was 4 for 4 on field goals, while Chad Ryland, when it counted the most, was 1 for 4, missing from 41, 47, and 51. The thing about Chad Ryland this offseason is that he was dime. He was confident from 45 and in. But now he's not even able to do that. And I think he finally has just nailed himself in the coffin. One more thing I'll add to the whole quarterback situation for those still having hope that Jacoby Brissett might be the backup quarterback come week 1. Patriots offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt said the other day that Maye is, and I quote, taking steps forward every single day. No regression. Going to be as patient as we can. It's that last part of the sentence that to me solidifies the fact that, look, yeah, he looks good, but that's what the Patriots want. They want him to look good. They're not looking for him to look like the better quarterback and that be what determines who's going to play week 1. They're thinking about the next 10 years and not the next 10 months. And that is the smart thing to do. Look, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Drake Maye starting, the Patriots aren't going to be a playoff team. The Patriots aren't going to be a Super Bowl contender. They might as well not throw him out to the fire until he is 1000% ready to go, not 90%. And then not just that, like I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier on in this video, Tyquan Thornton is officially a lock for me on this roster. Mike Reese, Taylor Kyles, both saying this, that Tyquan Thornton will be the Patriots' starting top receiver. They'll be the starting X receiver for the New England Patriots this upcoming season. Look, maybe, just maybe, if Javon Baker was able to prove himself a little bit more and show that he could be the Patriots' starting X receiver, maybe Tyquan Thornton would be on the outside looking in. I don't think he's done anything to be special and be a lock, but the Patriots view him as their top guy probably because of that speed. He's been utilized on the Patriots first team offense throughout the entire offseason, in the preseason, in training camp, continuing to roll with that first team offense. So whether you like it or not, Tyquan Thornton, he's going to be one of your top 3 or 4 receivers this upcoming season. But guys, that is going to end it for today's final recap from practice. What were your final takeaways from what we talked about today? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video on your way out. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. Appreciate you guys so much for watching. And of course, never forget, go Pats.